Welcome to my humble little office. My name is R. Keith Anders. I'm a spiritual guide and paranormal adept. The journey continues today on April 2nd, 2022 at approximately 10 o'clock a.m. PST. It is time to really get down to business on getting your finances in order. Now, in the last couple of sessions where I've been dealing with finances, we've talked about getting the list together. Now to get the attitude together. Okay, in a nutshell, in case you haven't looked at them yet, separate and find out every bill you owe, that you owe, whether including your living expenses. Living being rent, utilities. I do recommend one credit card to be listed as a utility. The rest of your credit cards, put them aside. Do not destroy them. Put them aside. Make sure when you're putting your list of bills together, you cover savings, food, insurance, and a little bit for entertainment. Okay. Once you've got that together, you break them into three groups. You've got your utilities, your living expenses. You've got your interest accruing debts, meaning credit cards, lines of credit, leases, things to this effect. Those are your next ones. And of course, your short-term, looking for the right word here. The payment plans that you've got, if you've got a no interest fee purchase you're working on, that is one of your interest accruing debts, regardless of what it says. Because here's why. Where it comes to an interest accruing debt, you have a simple problem. They're no interest. Let's just use 7 years for example. 7 years, no interest. Or better yet, let's go with the furniture. You've got 2 years, no interest to make that payment. Okay. I like the one that's only 1 year, but here's the whole catch with all of them. If you pay it off within that allotted time, that's fantastic. But my understanding is if you got $1, if you've got 1 penny that is not covered by the close of that final day where it's supposed to be no interest, all of the interest from before, from the whole lease or the whole loan, goes to the front end, and you now are that far back in debt. Okay, so we'll deal with other strategies on how you can pull that off. Okay, but the last set of bills is the ones that you don't owe that are not accruing interest. These would be family loans. They would be loans from friends that are not charging interest. Okay, those are your three. Now, the ones we target first, you make sure your living expenses are dealt with. Then you go after the debts. Now, this can be done in a lot of different fashions, and it really is dependent upon what you personally have. Okay, and that's just annoying me, so I'm just going to minimize that one so it doesn't get my attention. I keep catching flickers and seeing the thing happen. By the way, this is a live recording, meaning when I get done, I go back, double check the date, and post. And it's just that simple for me. And I gotta look at this. Oh, I'm way later. I said it was 10 a.m. Roughly 10 a.m. The reality is this recording is at approximately 12:30 p.m. But I'm not going to worry about that. Okay, time for me has been screwy anyway. Now, here's the thing. People have made the claim that money is the root of all evil. One person I heard put it this way. Money is not the root of all evil, but the quest for money is. Which, in all fairness, that too is ineffective. Because what is really the root of all evil is fear. Fear of lack, fear of loss, fear of being lesser. Any number of things. So the first thing we get straight in our head is this. Money is nothing but a barter system. That's all. In my opinion, it's a heck of a sight easier to move a $10 bill around than it is a herd of cow. Or even one cow for that matter. It's also easier to move a $10 bill than it is to move a chicken. Okay. But money is simply a barter system that is agreed upon. Do not ask me to go into why one country's money is worth more than the next. I don't see any of that as being a difference. It's the same as no matter who you are, an hour's work from any individual, regardless of age, gender, nationality, regardless of any of it, an hour's work should be paid for the individual, should be paid honestly to any individual of any social standing the same amount. Okay. But since that's not the way it is, you get to figure out that side yourself. I'm not going into it. But what I am going to go into is this. I have been through an absolute nightmare striving to get ahead. I've lived on the bottom end of on the bottom end of surviving, barely above the poverty line, for pretty much forever. But when it dawned on me here that by paying close attention, I can actually get ahead. I can actually get the prosperity that I frankly feel every single individual deserves. But you can deserve it all you desire. If you don't get up and make the actual change to it, okay, and do the work, you're not going to make it. Okay. Sure, you can live off other people. You can absolutely sit on your tail feathers and let other people foot the bill. But here's the unfortunate part. If you do that, are you following karmic law? Are you treating others the way you desire to be treated? Would you appreciate it if somebody else were to sit on their tail feathers and you have to foot the bill? Now, let's be clear. Many people go, oh, I'm a social assistance. The government is paying for it. It's not you. Wrong. Thanks for playing. The government gets their money from you. They just simply dole out who it goes to. And sadly, from what I've seen, it's not being doled out as effectively as it is required. Okay. But you take, first and foremost, credit cards are a danger. They're very much like a drug. Now, I do have one. I will have more. Right now, I've only got the one. I'm looking at three different setups or three different cards that I may be going after. I cannot tell you which one is best for you. Okay, I can certainly, given that you give me the information on what the cards are, I can certainly tell you which one feels best, but you've got to make the final decision anyway. Okay, now for me, where I'm standing right now, and this is why I got this out. I should grab the book to write on, but I didn't. I don't think. Not really, no. And my desk right now is an absolute war zone. So while I'm dealing with this, this is the office. This is my office. Okay, this is the backbone of the house. Okay, so take a look at your office. Take a look at wherever you work on your finances. That's where you start. Now, I've already gone through my finances today. I know that my bills are all in order. I know the books, the tracking books, are all up to date. So with that in mind, I'm set. My office, on the other hand, looks like somebody died on it. Not literally. It looks more like somebody took my file folder and went dump, and there it is. And that may have been what happened. So the first thing we do is set up a list. Now take every task. Again, it comes back to this list. Keep the projects down to 15 minutes to half an hour in length, if at all possible. Where it comes to the office, because we're going to start right now and change things. If you haven't already done this, bear with me and make notes as you go along. Absolutely. Okay, the first section I've got to deal with is this section right here, which I know you can't see it, but this is my whole desk. It runs from way over here all the way over to here. I've got my hand sitting on either end of my desk. Okay. So the first thing to do is clear all the paperwork off that. Get it filed, get it put away. Okay. The second step will be to clear the floorboards and get everything off the floor that is in the way, that is not where it belongs. Now, here's an example. Okay, this thing here is my recycling bucket. I keep it handy so that I can actually throw recycling paper into it. Now, once I get that done, then I can start looking at the other side. But the thing with finances is this: you've got to be looking at it on a daily basis. Do not make the mistake that I made and that way too many of you are making. Don't go, oh, I'll deal with this tomorrow. Procrastination will bottleneck you, it will snowball into a mess. Okay, it really will. You don't have to believe me about it, but it will absolutely do it. Okay. Now, the neat part about it is once you've got the energy in your office running smoothly, and I'm still working out exactly how I'm going to do that. I've got to do some measurements because I'm going to be, when I get the new TV I'm looking for, I'm going to turn around. As a matter of fact, that's not a bad idea when I get done here if I've still got time. We are at, 12, we're just past noon. So with that in mind, as soon as I'm done this video, I'm going to go out and take a look at some furniture that I know exactly what I'm looking for. And I'm going to go and take a peek at it. That being said, because the reality is this: in order to be successful, you have to know what feels right to you. What is success to you? One of these days I'll get a camera that I can move around and go, this is what we're looking at. For the moment, that ain't going to happen. Although it may happen in the near future. Scratch that, it will happen in the near future. I am, like I said, I'm upgrading things, but where it comes to money, you have to plan it as far as what you can afford. What works inside your cash flow, not your budget. A budget, as far as I've ever seen, only works if you've got a definitive amount of money coming in on a definitive check. Like, for instance, the contract check that I have coming in. That one contract, I know every month I get this amount of money. So I know I can split that up however I please, and I can budget that one contract. The rest of my income is a little bit scrambled as far as what comes in when. So the rest of it, you track. Okay. Now, I already know I put money on my credit card, and I already know by doing that, come the middle of the month, I will end up wiping that card out again. Okay. Which does two things. One, it keeps me in the clear as far as my debts go. Okay, or as far as my cost of living goes. But like I said, one credit card. Have as many credit cards as you desire. But right now, we're getting your money turned back where you can handle it, where you can support yourself. And this is done by, doesn't matter how many credit cards you have. Okay, it does from a credit rating standpoint from what I've seen. And I will keep you posted on how that sort of thing goes with me. But right now, I've got one. Okay, so come the middle of the month when my regular paycheck comes in, that credit card, because I'm using it the way I am, I will write that credit card off. I'll wipe it, I'll pay it off completely. But again, if you've got more than one, we're talking about getting your feet back on the ground. If you've got more than one credit card, take every other card. Take the one that has the most room on it or the lowest interest rate. I recommend taking the one with the lowest interest rate and targeting that one as a functioning credit card. The rest of your credit cards, put away. Put them in your safety deposit box. Do what one person did. She put them individually in individual Ziploc baggies. Stuck them in a bucket of water. And then froze the water. Okay. Net result, she did not have ready access to the credit cards. These things are very useful if they are used correctly. the credit card itself, take a look at the balance at the credit limit you have. Make sure you never go. Now, in my opinion, keep it under 10%. Okay. What I found was a slight modification the other day. So here's my recommendation. Keep it under 10% if at all possible. But do not ever, if avoidable, go over 30% before you pay it off again. And that's based on whatever credit limit you have. I recommend getting in when you're inside the 10%, pay it off totally, and then build it back up so that it's constantly going up to the 10% and down. In my case, this means with this one credit card, and this will change within the next couple of years, possibly earlier. But with this one credit card, this means at 10%, I can go up to $750. Okay, but never, ever, ever, unless it's absolutely unavoidable. Okay, never go over 30% before you pay it off again. Now, I know I've got a couple of bills coming up, a couple of bills I'm going to have to pay that will push my credit card way up again. At that point, I'll stop using it until I get it paid way back down again. But that is an issue of controlled buying. Only buy what you require. It's that simple. Okay, you've got some ad money. I mentioned putting money aside for credit and for entertainment. Okay, absolutely necessary. You cannot effectively handle money if you've got no reprieve, if you're only paying bills. This is why I say on your paycheck when it comes in, you take a look at your paycheck and take 1% off the top. Put that 1% per member of your household. Take 1% and give it to each person. This means $1 out of every $100. Okay, if you made $101, it's still only $1. Okay, 1% out of every $100. Okay, goes to you for mad money. This is for your coffee, for your chocolate bars. Okay, when we're talking about putting savings aside, and this is a formula I'm going to calculate it out again today, just for my own benefit. Okay, but here's the thing. I'm going to take a look at the possibilities of setting up a percentage budget, meaning here's the minimums I require, here's the percentage I'm going to work with of money to accommodate this. If my calculations are correct, which I'm pretty certain they will work out nicely, I will walk you through what I've chosen to do there, because the reason I bill myself as a spiritual guide is because the tools that I personally use are the same ones I'm offering you and the same ones I've offered thousands of other people with remarkable success. I am not a financial advisor. I am a spiritual guide. Okay, so I cannot talk to you much about the functionality of investments and what have you, except make certain that it's a deal. If you're signing a deal, make certain it's a deal that you personally are happy with. These people that tell you, oh, if you invest this money, it'll make this much, scrap the thought. If you invest money, be prepared. This has to be money that you can afford to lose. Okay. Now, this is just my personal opinion. You don't have to believe me, but this is what has got me to the point where I am now 100% debt free. Okay. That's the critical factor, is once you get debt free, I will tell you from personal experience, the relief is phenomenal. See, I got another, when did this one come in? Got another thing here. An offer for me to get, an offer to get me a credit card at 19.8%. Now, this is Capital One. Okay. I don't own one of these. Now, the neat part about it is 19.8% is ridiculous. However, if... Uh-oh. Oh, good. However, if you're handling the credit cards right, the 19.8% won't matter because you're not paying. You put a little money on, a little bit on the card, you pay it off. You never, ever let interest build up. Then the 19.8 doesn't matter. Okay. Now, this is a credit card. It's a revolving credit. If you're looking at a payday loan or that sort of thing, you're paying a stupid amount of interest. Okay, I dealt with one myself where I was paying 49% interest. I didn't think to look at it. I totally ignored the interest. Like the interest rate when I looked at it, when I signed the agreement. 49% is absolutely a ridiculous amount of interest to pay. Okay. Now, does it have advantages? Certainly. If you're in a real bind and going to a company like this, a company like that, where they're charging that kind of interest, first of all, in my eyes, it's legalized loan sharking. Okay. But if you there's a big difference between what you require and what you desire. Okay. What you require is your your utility bills to be paid off. Okay, so you don't have to worry about them being disconnected. All of mine are up to date. You can get to the same point. Okay, that new computer you desire. Okay, that thing that you don't require, yours is working fine. It's a bit of a dinosaur, but it's still working. Sorry about that. Now, here's the thing. I came back to this life for one primary purpose, and that is to pass on a simple message to everyone in existence that working together, we can make this a better world for most people. Now, there will certainly invariably be some dissidents. Okay, I shouldn't say invariably. I remember one civilization where they had no war, no greed, no hunger, no poverty. It was even across the board, and they were a content people. It can be done, but you have to realize it can only be done when you follow karmic law, meaning do unto others as you desire them to do unto you. If you desire to be treated fairly, treat people fairly. Okay. If you desire to be treated like a decent individual, if you desire not to be sworn at, do not swear at people. It's that simple. It doesn't guarantee you'll be treated the right way, but it does stack the deck in your favor. Now, for me, okay, and what I have found is this. I've got everything cleared. Everything is now up to date. Now it is my responsibility to make absolutely certain that I get to that I stay on that point. Now, I've talked about credit cards to a degree. There's more to come, and we're going to go back through. I'm going to lay out that sort of thing. As a matter of fact, I should do that too. All I'm doing here is making notes for myself to make sure today I get what I'm aiming for. Because the one thing about using money, it does not care how you feel. It doesn't care whether you're healthy, whether you're poor, whether you're sick. It doesn't care. It will do what it does. Okay. And money is a great thing. It is useless if you don't have it. If you're not spending it. Like it may look great to have $1,000 bills on your shelf. I don't even know if they make them anymore. But my having access to a credit card, okay, that is active, is extremely beneficial. But the reality is, I can have a stack of these things, okay, And if they're being used properly, they're great. But the way it was explained to me was the way it was explained to me by a very wealthy businessman was having one credit card with $1,000 credit limit on it, is wonderful. Or put it up a little higher. Having a credit card with a $5,000 credit limit is great, but having 5 credit cards with only 1,000 each is even better. Okay. And the reality is, years ago, I had 13 credit cards. Okay. Now, I made some pretty stupid mistakes. At this point, I don't know how many I'm going to have in the long run. I really don't. What I do know is I know how to use them now. And once you figure out the key to money, once you figure out the key on how it actually works, you too can have everything you desire. It will take time, it will take discipline, it will take hard work. Okay, it will take persistence. But everything I'm doing, you can learn how to do. Okay, I went from being bankrupt twice to I literally just had it worked out. According to the income tax company that I was dealing with, okay, in just the last 10 years, because of the fact that so-called professionals messed up, I have in excess of $100,000 in missed deductions. Okay, now what that means to me in the long run, I don't know. Okay, but I do encourage you to really take a look at your income tax and find out where you're standing. Really get a handle on it. Do not make the mistake I did. Okay, I made the terrible choice of letting other people figure out, decide what was being reported right. Make sure you find out. Now, I will be back again with you tomorrow. We're just hitting the half-hour mark. So I will be back with you again tomorrow. Until then, take care of yourselves and each other, and for pity's sakes, stay positive.